My dad and stepmom was having a foursome with a couple of their friends. We were at a summer house and they did it in the living room. I felt so uncomfortable eating breakfast the next day. What is the worst thing you've overheard while pretending to be asleep? Hey man, so happy to see you joined me for another story time. It's been so long, or not, depending if you're binging through the channels. Since you're here, why not subscribe and like the video so you don't miss any more story times with Andrew. If you do, I'll clear your student loan debt. Anyways, let's get into the stories. Old roommates planning to kick me out. That I was dying with meningitis, but jokes on the doctors, I'm still kicking. My family were staying at a friend's house and had to share a room. My dad comes to bed hammered and says to my mum something along the lines of, "Does it impress you that I'm this drunk and can still perform?" I actually wanted to die. My mom having an affair with her fiance's best friend, who was married. In the same room that I was sleeping in. I was like 10 years old. My parents discussing whether or not I was gay and exploring where they went wrong with raising me. Too many hugs. Edit. This really blew up and I've got a lot of people wondering whether or not I'm gay. For the record, I am straight and have had sex with a bunch of girls. Take that, mom and dad. I was a camp counselor. Two girls very much liked to make hot or not lists. One of them suggested a male counselor was hot, and the other said he was saying mean things about me behind my back, which made him not hot. Hurt to hear that from my campers, but glad they supported me. My sister got drunk and I heard a loud thud, and she blacked out. Two of her friends and my mom and dad were shouting at each other. They were saying to shut up cause they didn't want to wake me up, and they were all crying thinking she was dead, and I couldn't tell my sister I was happy she didn't die. Now I appreciate seeing her every week. Something like, she's too old for this, I'm not going to carry her up to bed anymore. And that was the last time I was magically transported from the living room couch to my bedroom. My mom on a payphone, begging her boyfriend for more heroin. Edit. My mom was driving around town late at night, probably trying to score, and I was sleeping in the passenger seat. She stopped at a parking lot. I woke up and pretended to be asleep. This was back when payphones were in convenience store parking lots everywhere, mid-90s. EDIT too. Last I heard, my mom is clean and doing well enough. I haven't talked to her in almost 20 years, it's healthier for me that way. My mom getting the crap beat out of her. Update. Thanks for everything guys, like I said in a reply, it was 30 years ago. He and my mom were married on-off until about 7 years ago when he put her in the hospital and I ended up breaking his nose and a rib. No idea where he is now, but she knows if she ever talks to him again or mentions him she loses a son. Update 2. I noticed some people following me. You really don't want to do that, I'm what you call a very nice asshole. I do argue about stupid meaningless crap and have a very strong opinion against racism and fascists. I've only posted one original content here. Sleeping over at a friend's house when I was 14, all of us on the floor in living room. Couldn't sleep. Two of my friends, guy and girl, directly next to me start doing freaky things to each other. I was extremely shy and a couple of years younger than them, so I stayed quiet and hoped they'd stop. Had to listen to them for an hour while she made weird-ass moaning squeaky noises, and he was singing, in a weird slightly whispery singy voice, Matchbox 20 songs to her while he did whatever he was doing. That was last time I slept over at a friend's house. I wasn't pretending to be asleep per se, but I was well on my way. I was under anesthesia and was fading in and out. I remember closing my eyes to help move things along. I was in a lot of pain because my appendix ruptured. This happened years ago, so I can't remember all of the details, unfortunately. I remember being moved over to an operating table, and they told me to take my shirt off, I think. I heard someone go, "What do you think would happen if I poked her belly button right now?" I was an out-tie prior to having an appendectomy. Hey, went through my belly button, so that is no longer the case. Anyway, someone, very quickly, responded, "Dude, that is not funny. Remember what happened the last time?" It's possible I was starting to dream, but I remember it making me feel a mix of amusement and anxiety. In college, woke up to roommate's bed creaking. I shoot up to see what the hell is going on. There I see some woman on her back with her legs full spread eagle, and my roommate just pile driving it like it was his last day on earth. Like a good bro, I quickly lie back down and pretend to be asleep. Her. In between gasps of air, is your roommate awake? Him? Nah, he sleeps through anything. Cut to next morning. I casually get up and turn on my PlayStation 2 and start playing some random game. My roommate's fling gets up and casually comes over and sits next to me. Her. Good morning, my name. Me. Good morning, her name. Her. Did you sleep good last night? Me. Yeah, I can sleep through anything. As the last word left my mouth, I immediately realized I blew it. She began a huge flurry of slaps at my roommate while cursing at him. He didn't care because he was too busy laughing the whole time. Edit. This is my first major comment of Reddit. Thanks for all the updates and awards. I'm glad I could make so many people laugh. And just to clarify for anyone asking, I did not realize who she was in the 0.05 seconds when I shot up in a haze, so to me she was some random woman until the morning when I was able to realize who it was. She didn't really hit him hard, but it was a flurry of frustration slaps. No real harm was done. My mom trying to calm my dad down out of a suicidal fit. My brother and I had been really bad that day, and when he grounded us, we both told him that we hated him and wanted him to go away. He didn't do anything wrong. My brother and I were just a couple of immature little cunts. I'm pretty sure blackout drunk at this point, which I had never seen and still haven't saw since then, walked into our room that night and I pretended to fall asleep. Then he just started these deep haunting sobs that I'll probably never forget. He stumbled outside and we could hear him begging my mom to let him die and sobbing, all I've ever wanted in my entire life was to be a better dad than mine. I was only 11 or so, but it ducking destroyed my heart. I think that's the time I learned that emotional pain can actually physically hurt. I was hunched over in my bed bawling my eyes out and on the verge of throwing up. I also felt like an asshole for crying over what we said. My brother was thankfully able to sleep through it all. I think about that once every 2 weeks or so, and I always message him to tell him I love him when I do. I hope he forgot about it, but being a dad myself now, I don't think it's something you totally forget. It might not hurt like it did in the moment, but I don't think you forget. Like most heartbreaking things, I guess. My then stepmom's nephews talking about what they would do to me sexually if given the chance. I was 14, they were 17, 19 and 21. Thankfully the window to the motorhome was slightly open and my dad heard the entire thing. I was scared of boys for a long time after that. Edit. Thank you everyone for your comments of support. A lot of people are asking what happened after. This all happened while we were camping on the Oregon coast. My dad ripped them a new one, and that was the end of it. About a year later, the youngest one tried to grope me when I was trying to sleep, but I was able to cover myself and he gave up. The next day I told him I knew what he tried to do, and I would tell my dad if he didn't stop. He acted like he didn't know what I was talking about, but he never tried again. A year or so after that, they got divorced, and I never had to see her or her crazy family again. I'm so sorry for those of you who have similar stories. It's been almost 30 years since this incident, and I feel like I have a very healthy view of relationships now. I hope you all are happy and healthy too. Acted asleep while family were talking amongst themselves about getting me married off to this girl who's educated but 5 years older than me. I was 15. Then she got married and divorced and absolutely ragdoll abused. So I actually feel bad about it now. Edit. Duck. This blew up. Some backstory. Girl had just graduated and family wanted her to marry. She agreed and their family made a list of possible suitors. I was one on that list. We were close-ish. But I had a almost fully developed beard at that time, so they probably assumed I was older. When it was brought up I outright rejected because she was figuratively a big sister to me. Always looking out for me. It was an arranged marriage. Their family married her off and they moved abroad. I don't know what the duck was going through their minds. They married her to a 28-year-old with mental health issues, and she'd always get beat up every day because he assumed she was cheating. Then she got pregnant and he didn't believe it was his, it was. Police got involved and then family uncles aunts, it disgusts me to even say that, intervened. It's now been 2 years she's free of that monster. But he's not in jail. So it pains me to this day. I know it's not my fault, but I just have guilt that I maybe could have stopped this. And I apologize for using the term ragdoll abused, because mostly people wouldn't see her for months on end, and she'd always be covered up and sore. I did not use it in a derogatory manner. Comments asking if she's hot? Duck you, bloody get out more. Another edit. I got emotional so I couldn't say this before. If you do see abuse, intervene the best you can. Call the police, try to be supportive. Whatever you can. Thanks for watching. What did you think of the story time? Let me know in the comments below. If you liked the video, smash that like button and subscribe so you don't miss any more story times.